Ingesting a pill that measures your vitals sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but believe it or not, this technology has already made it to clinical trials. In this video, we're going to show you this incredible research straight from the original scientific study. Stay tuned. Hey there, welcome to Science is You. We're a growing channel dedicated to spreading awareness of real biotechnology research and making it accessible and fun for everyone. To support our mission, please subscribe and share with your friends. Thanks for watching. Although an ingestible device to track your vitals sounds like a futuristic sci-fi thing from far in the future, the idea of a pill that could report your vital signs was first thought up in the 1950s. Some scientific papers were even published, conceptualizing its possible design. Fast forward to today, and this study presents a clinical trial where an ingestible device was developed that could monitor heart rate and breathing. Here's how it works. The researchers who developed this instrument call it a vitals monitoring pill, which they describe as a wireless ingestible device about the size of a typical vitamin capsule. Their published design is shockingly simple, consisting of components they claim you can buy off the shelf. Although in contrast to our video on making a DIY microscope out of your phone, you probably shouldn't try to DIY an ingestible vitals monitoring pill. Their device consisted of an accelerometer, which measures vibrational movements like those that might be generated through heart rate and breathing, a microcontroller, which is like a tiny simplified computer, a small memory storage, a radio antenna for transmitting information to a laptop located nearby, and batteries, of course. The idea is you swallow the pill device, it sits in your gut for around a week or so, and relays your heart rate and respiratory rate in real time to an ordinary laptop for, say, your doctor to monitor. Cool or creepy? Share in the comments. Theory is one thing, but does it really work? And who'd they get to be the first to try it? So to test it out, they first tried it in pigs. They're indeed able to reliably measure breathing and heart rate in the pigs. These measurements agreed well with the traditional veterinary vitals monitoring equipment. Pretty cool. But that leads us to another big question. We already have ways to measure vitals in healthcare settings. I mean, for that matter, you can take your own pulse and count someone's breaths without any machines. What would this device really be good for? So the scientists brought up a couple scenarios where it might be desirable to measure your vitals continuously without having to be hooked up to an external device. One case is obstructive sleep apnea. People who suffer from this condition can develop a blocked airway when they are asleep and stop breathing. Diagnosing and managing this condition can be quite difficult, especially in patients with comorbidities. At home every night, it isn't practical at all to hook yourself up to vitals monitoring equipment, and wearable devices like smartwatches don't always give the most reliable results. A quick and less cumbersome way for a doctor to see what's going on with your breathing and heart rate at night while you're sleeping could be very useful for diagnosing and treating sleep apnea or other cardiac or respiratory conditions. Another possible use case the researchers envision is preventing deaths due to opioid overdose. The scientists point out that many such overdoses occur when a person is alone, and the ability of a healthcare provider to remotely monitor vitals and be alerted of a decrease in breathing rate could be extremely advantageous. To test out whether their vitals monitoring device was capable of detecting an opioid overdose, they administered fentanyl to the pigs that had swallowed the device. Indeed, they were able to observe cessation of breathing in the pigs and could see with their device how respiratory rate resumed when they reversed the overdose by giving the pigs naloxone. So it seems this vitals monitoring device does work in pigs. But would it work the same way in people? And would they be able to get anyone willing to try it? They recruited people who were scheduled for sleep study evaluation at the West Virginia University Medicine Sleep Evaluation Center. They had some strict inclusion criteria for participants: between 18 and 65 years of age, BMI under 40, no previous abdominal surgery, gastric issues, or other implanted devices. But they were able to identify 78 eligible people for their vitals monitoring pill trial. Out of these 78, only 11 agreed to do it. Not exactly an enthusiastic response, but enough willing and eligible people to see if this device was actually going to work. Their final participant list consisted of 10 people, 9 male and 1 female. So these 10 people swallowed the vitals monitoring pill, and what happened? Respiratory and cardiac signal could indeed be observed in everyone who participated. Vitals were monitored primarily during the night, as this was technically part of a sleep study. The pill recorded heart rate to within 2 to 3 beats per minute as compared to traditional vitals monitoring equipment, and breathing rate to within 1 breath per minute. Pretty impressive. But if the pill device measures heart and respiratory rate based on sensing vibrational movements, wouldn't getting up or moving around mess it up? Indeed, large body movements like rolling over in bed showed up on the signals reported by the pill, but these were much larger and had a different pattern than movements due to heart rate and breathing, and could be filtered out. So these vitals monitoring pills do indeed seem to work, but what about detecting when someone stops breathing? The researchers did a simple test of this while the participants were awake. They asked them to just hold their breath. They did a few runs of breath holding for 15-second intervals. Indeed, it could be clearly seen with the vitals monitoring pill that respiratory signals stopped when the patients were holding their breath and resumed when they started breathing normally again. So the pill indeed worked as intended. But another big question, would the pill just stay in the participants forever? So a follow-up 2 weeks later using radiography to examine the participants' gut and digestive systems found that everyone had excreted the pill. Also, no one reported any side effects or discomfort associated with the pill. But the scientists here admit that this trial had some limitations. First, although it was great that they got to compare the vitals recorded by their pill to gold standard traditional vitals monitoring equipment in a controlled environment, this was technically a sleep study, and most of the data they collected was in patients at rest or asleep. What would the results be for people during the day, awake, walking around, exercising? All this needs to be tested also. And the number of participants was pretty limited, only 10 people and all but one were male. The pill device needs to be examined in a wider range of individuals to ensure its accuracy. And although the pill was safely expelled in all the healthy participants here, what about people with prior GI issues or other implants? Would it be safe there as well? But despite these outstanding questions, the results were pretty cool. The researchers had some even bigger ideas as well. At the end of the paper, they mention ultimately wishing to incorporate an automatic medication release system to combat opioid overdose. In theory, this would work presumably by detecting a pause or decrease in breathing, then automatically release a medication like naloxone to reverse it. And we might be closer than we think to such a device hitting the market. Some of the authors of the study are in connection with Traverso Systems, which has a website linked in the description that appears to be a startup based on the technology encompassed in this study. What do you think? Would you feel comfortable swallowing a vitals monitoring pill? What about the ethical issues that might arise from being able to constantly monitor someone's vital signs? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, please share it with your friends, and remember,